All right, guys, welcome to the next level. Got my man Thomas McBride with us today. How we doing, Thomas?
Amazing, man.
Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. We're talking about something that I know is vital to the sales process to helping people is tonality, right? And how to ask the right questions. Not what are the right questions, how to ask them. Because it's one thing, I could say the same thing you're saying, but in the wrong tone, and I won't get the same result. You know how many times I've worked with agents where they go, I'm saying what you're saying. They go, well, say it back to me. But you don't sound the way I sound. And that is everything. Especially now in this world of where we're predominantly telesales. It's one thing if I'm in the house and I say the wrong thing, I don't have the right tone out. There's more room for catch up. I have more leeway in the home.
There's eye contact.
Absolutely.
There's presence, yeah.
On the phone, dude, I don't care if you got an Android, an iPhone, they all got that red button.
Yeah.
They can press, right?
Yes.
So if it's going bad, they can just see you later.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the home. You know, yeah, they can ask you to leave, but they're usually not going to ask you to leave because you have the wrong tone.
Right.
You are at 250 so far this year. You hit Hall of Fame last year. Why do I tell you guys that? Because that means he knows what he's doing from a sales standpoint, right? Talk to me about the tone, why it's important, and what, in your mind, what's the right tone?
The right tone is going to vary depending on where you are in the appointment. So at the beginning of the call, I typically try to have more of a calm and inquisitive tonality where I'm more so just curious about what's, is this still the coverage you were looking for, or was it something like burial,
Get them answering questions.
Right, because the overall point of the appointment for me is to make them sell me on why they need this insurance. So I'm kind of asking them questions to lead towards that, well, I just want to make sure that, if I pass away, I'm not leaving a bill to my daughter.
Yeah.
And then once I get that little answer right there, boom, I move on to saying, okay, and then.
So your first thing is you want to get their why.
Get the why, yeah.
Yeah, you want to don't assume.
Well, first thing, introduce myself, kind of, maybe I try to make them laugh within the first 30 seconds.
Okay.
Relate to them in some type of way.
What is your go-to? Like, how are you getting them to laugh that quick? What's some things you say?
Well, I might, if they ask me how I'm doing, I might say something like, well, just being boring here, or just, just sitting here at my desk, just slaving away, or whatever, try to kind of self-deprecating humor.
Got it. Okay.
Really anything. It's a skill that's built over time for me.
So you're doing that early on, try to get, because when people are laughing, they're usually buying. Right.
Right.
Now you don't want to laugh the whole time. You don't turn into a comedian, but like getting them. So you're doing that in the beginning, kind of break the ice a little bit. But the first thing you're really looking to uncover is that, why did you fill this out? Without going, hey, why did you fill this out?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Where's the pain coming from? Where's the issue coming from? Did somebody recently pass that reminded you of this?
Yeah.
Did you have a recent loan that you just purchased that you want to make sure is protected if something happens to you? And so just kind of digging into those questions there without making it sound like an interview. I recently have implemented almost asking them permission to ask them questions.
Okay.
So I say, is it appropriate if, before we get into exactly what you're looking for, if I just ask a few questions because if you just start, peppering them with, do you have cancer? Are you sick?
Right. Like, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
It almost makes them feel like they're being interviewed by this person who just called them out of nowhere. So asking permission to ask questions has been a huge help for me.
Yeah. Because what do they always say?
They're never going to say, no, you can't. And if they do, that means that you probably shouldn't be on the phone with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you do that so you've done your little break the ice, make them laugh a little bit, and then you go, do I have your permission to ask you questions?
Yeah.
And they go, yep. And then you start going, and then you're getting to that why, right? So once you get the why, where are you going from there? I go, hey, Thomas, I'm just really looking to make sure that, my house is protected. So if I pass, my wife and kids get to stay here.
Perfect. That's exactly, the issue that most people have here. And we actually specialize with helping people to set those types of programs up. And then I just kind of take the attention off of it for a second. So I'll usually go confirm some information. Is this your date of birth?
Yeah.
And then I get into explaining who who I am, what my job is to do.
Yeah.
And the way that I paint that picture is basically telling them that I'm their consultant. I'm not a sales guy. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to work with you, with your budget, with your situation, to help you achieve your goals with the least amount of insurance possible. I always say that. I want to help you achieve your goals with the least amount of insurance possible. We don't want to be over purchasing, and it kind of just allows them that comfort of knowing that I'm not just here to,
right.
try to run it up on them. I'm trying to help them and put them in a position that's comfortable for them too.
Yeah. So asking them questions, confirming the information, which is getting them to say yes a lot, right? Like, so this is your data. Yes. And then setting the expectation is so huge. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where, we were talking earlier about the small things. Mm-hmm. And if you don't set the expectation, you're asking for trouble.
Right.
Just like you mentioned, hey, if you ask them their permission to ask questions, and people watch, well, that sounds crazy. Yeah, but then they say yes, and then you can ask them questions.
Yeah. Most of the times they say yes with a very thankful tone. They're like, yeah, ask me anything you need, because they feel comfortable that you ask them that permission.
A small thing, it takes you 10 seconds, right? And then setting the expectation is so huge. Like I can, when you say, I go back and I remember when I first started, I wouldn't do that because I was so nervous. I'm just trying to get through it. And then when I finally started laying it all out, like, here's what we're going to do today. Statements like that, like, here's what we're going to do today.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to help you find something that fits your needs in your budget. I'm going to help you get qualified. And then we're going to make an application, see if you get approved. Like, that's, once I started doing that, then I got a lot less pushback.
Yeah.
So you're setting your expectation. What do you say? Because it's a little different. You're on the phone. What's the expectation you're setting for them?
So at the moment, I'm doing mostly veterans. So I'm saying, we specialize with veterans, which gives us access to all the veteran-friendly programs. And that allows us to kind of do the shopping for you. If you're like most people, you probably don't want to have to sit with 20 different sales guys, get a bunch of quotes. And they always agree. They're always like, oh, yeah, I hate that.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, perfect. So, what we do is we'll help you based on your factors like your age, health, budget. We're able to kind of customize and design a program to fall within those guidelines.
Yeah.
And I don't say anything about. I started doing this recently. I don't say anything about an application yet.
Okay.
I mostly just say we're gonna help you design a program, and
got it.
And then I say, is that something that you think would help you out? Do you think that would help you and your family? And
Yeah,
just kind of
they say yes, right?
Exactly.
They're not gonna. No, that's not gonna help me. No one's gonna say that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing too. Ask questions that they're gonna say. Don't ask these open-ended questions like, "Hey, what do you think about life insurance?" Come on, or why did you fill this out?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just looking for information. That's what they're gonna say. They're not gonna say, "I filled this out because I'm concerned that when I pass, my family's screwed."
Yeah.
You gotta kind of steer them there.
Yeah.
So from that point, this is, we're putting together a program. Does that sound good? They say yes. Where do you go from there?
That's when I go into saying, okay, perfect. Before we get into exactly what you're looking for, is it appropriate if I just ask a few questions to make sure I can properly serve you here? Then I go into the health stuff.
So get the health stuff out of the way.
Who's their beneficiary? What's their financial situation like?
Why is that? Because there's some new agents watching that, maybe they don't understand why you need to ask the health stuff up front. Why is that so important?
Because it helps you be able to, first off, tell you what carrier you're going to be able to write.
Right.
And I mean, that's the most important thing, the health thing.
Because you don't want to start showing a guy something that they can't qualify.
I've done that.
We've all been there, right? Like you lead in, you're looking at a mortgage lead or something, and you're like, oh, cashback option, dude. Look, so you can get this rate. Then you start asking. My man goes, dude, I had a heart attack 3 years ago. You're like, oh shit, now.
Yeah.
Oh, you know how I told you can get this amazing plan here?
Now you can.
Now let's backtrack.
Yeah.
But if you know that up front, then you can steer the conversation in a way where we're not backtracking. We're going, hey, dude, because you had a heart attack, most companies are going to flat out say no. But I can get you this. That's different than, dude, look, it's like telling you don't have kids. You're young.
Correct.
I have kids. It'd be like me telling my 8-year-old that we're going to have ice cream for dinner. And then when we go have dinner, we end up having, chicken and broccoli. And she's like, Dad, you said ice cream. Yeah, I know, but I was just kidding. We're going to have that later.
Yeah.
She's not going to want it. She's 8.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. She has to have ice cream because I said it. I screwed up, though, right? But I go, we're going to have dinner, then ice cream, kind of the same thing. I can't go, you're going to get this amazing plan, and then, oh, by the way, you're not. You got this little one over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be way more expensive for a lot less coverage.
Absolutely.
But it's still the best plan.
Yeah. So you're getting the health stuff up front. Now, once you've determined, all right, I know I'm going to go with America or Mutual, whatever.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
So I'm going on the quote tool. It will first. I look at their income, and I usually the way I do it in my head is if the premium is less than 9% of their monthly income.
Yeah.
It's usually for me. It's
okay.
Doable.
How are you getting their income? What are you doing? Financial inventory?
I just say typically ballpark area on a month-to-month basis. What's coming in?
Okay.
And that's really the extent I go.
And because you've already asked them the permission to ask questions, this is just another one of the questions.
Right. Sometimes at the income part, they don't want to share.
Yeah.
And usually to me, that tells me that they have a decent income.
Right.
Because, they're not going to probably be scared to share that they make $1,200 a month.
Exactly.
They're making, $20,000 a month. They might not be
right.
so willing to say. But, yeah, so I asked the financial stuff, and I'm drawing out an option. Say if they wanted most people, I want to cover my burial, leave a little bit extra.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of finding a number between, like, in the area of where it's going to fit in their budget, but also take care of their needs. Mm-hmm. And I'm just presenting them with one option.
Okay.
Somebody taught me this more recently. Actually, it was Thomas Ronda. He shared this with me, and he goes, if you're at a doctor's office and you tell them what's going on, right? They're not going to give you 3 different medications to choose from.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you, they're not going to say, well, which one would you like here?
Right.
No, they're going to recommend you a program or a medication, and if you say, well, I heard about that medication, I don't like it, then they'll adjust.
Correct.
So that's how I kind of present it, and I say, what I recommend for you is this whole life program, explain how whole life works. It's a fixed premium, everything like that, and I say, we're looking at a $25,000 option to cover your burial, and then it will leave, $10,000 for your daughter, as a gift.
Yeah.
Monthly, that's going to be, $140 a month. Is there any reason that doesn't work for you? Any reason that doesn't work for you, or did you want me to look at anything higher or lower?
Yeah. What do you normally get there? What do they normally say?
So, it's a myriad of different responses I get. The best ones is the ones where they say, no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Or actually the best ones is they say, let's look at a little higher.
Yeah.
But it can really be a myriad of things. And obviously you run into people who they may be too old and the coverage just doesn't make sense for them. You run into people where they're just not ready for it. But yeah, I would say a lot of different responses I get.
But from there, hey, I can go up, I can go down.
Right.
But you're figuring out that comfortable price before you move forward, getting them to kind of agree or whatnot.
And if they give me any hesitation when I say the price, if I hear anything, I address it. I say, hey, I heard a little bit of hesitation there. What's behind that? Where did that come from? And they might go into, oh, well, the price is a little bit too high, and then you just realize that you just have to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think that if they get one no, the sale's over, and they lose their composure. And really, you have to see why they're saying no. If they're saying no because it's too expensive, you just have to offer them a better
easy
price.
fix.
And the way I've been doing that as well is saying, can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion? And always they say yes. And I usually will say, okay, why don't we start with something a little bit lower? You can always add more going forward. It's easier to start low and add more than to bite off more than you can chew.
Yep.
So we'll just kind of adjust and fix the numbers until they make perfect sense for the client.
Yeah, that's a great point that I do believe, especially early on, agents want to avoid the no instead of, dude, give me the no, but then you have to be comfortable enough to ask that question, which is uncomfortable.
For sure.
Like to go, hey, I noticed some hesitation in your voice when you said that. What brought that on? That's uncomfortable.
For sure.
I'd imagine the first time you said it was pretty damn uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? You're like, oh, God, what's he going to say?
Yeah.
But if not, prior to that, if you didn't ask it, what happens? You don't help the family, right?
Exactly.
Or the hesitation's there. He's not going to tell you no. You write it. They can't afford it. Then what happens?
Charge back.
Charge back.
Charge back, yep.
And it's like, oh, it's part of the business, sure. But I always just say this to my client, if I put you in something that doesn't fit your budget, I screwed up. I leave your house, you cancel, you now have no life insurance, I didn't make no money or protect your family, and now we're back at square one, and then you're never going to let someone come back out and do this. So how about we find what fits your budget today so we don't have to go down that route?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's on me. And I do believe if you don't help a family, 9 times out of 10, it's on you. There's some situations where, like, hey, some people are going to fill some stuff out, and you're not going to be able to help them. But that's a small. I mean, you've been doing this long enough to know that that's a small percentage of the people we meet with.
For sure, and also you have to be wary of the times where people are too. They're too yes, and you present them with an option, and they're way too easygoing about it.
Yeah.
Because I found that some of those people, when they're like, you show them an option, they're 78 years old, it's $25,000 for $300 a month.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, no problem, absolutely. And then they'll have a month or their fridge breaks, or
right,
and that's the first thing they cancel. So you have to almost get to a point where you're really dissecting what is comfortable for them,
correct,
and maybe downselling them if need be.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people don't want to tell you they can't afford it. It makes them uncomfortable. I remember, especially in the home when you're sitting with a couple, the last thing a guy wants to say in front of his wife, in front of another dude, is, "Hey, bro, I can't afford that." They will tell you yes, and then the minute you leave or the minute the thing gets issued, it's canceled.
Yeah.
Instead of like, but when you, I believe the signs are there. You're just ignoring them because it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like you said, you hear the hesitation. So does everyone else. You just want to act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's like these red flags are right there, but you're ignoring it. It's like you're in the honeymoon phase, right?
Exactly.
Like everything's fine. Like, dude, you knew he couldn't afford it by the way he looked at you.
Yeah.
That was the benefit. It's a little different now on the phone, but you can hear the tone in their voice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we used to write 3 options on the back of the lead and slide it in front of them. And I could tell by the way you looked at it, if I was in the right area or not.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh man, I messed up, you know. Or even as we're going on, hey, this is the base option. Boom, you get this. This is the middle one, and you're like, I know. All right, we're gonna start here.
Yeah.
And to your point, you have to make that suggestion. With the 3 options, a lot of times you get people, I'm not sure which one I want to do. Yeah. Well, that means that you'd like to do the top one, but you can't afford that. You don't want to say that. But if I were to go, hey, let's just start here, or I would go, which one do you want to do? You wouldn't want to do any less than. I wouldn't want to do any less than this middle one. Okay, is that payment comfortable? Yeah. All right, why don't we start there?
Yeah.
Like you said, we always can add. We always can go up.
Yeah.
But let's get you something, because I don't want you to have that month where your refrigerator breaks or your car breaks down.
Yeah.
And to your point, first thing they cancel, life insurance, if it's unaffordable.
Yes.
Or if it's at that, which is why it's so important to get their budget, go through it, and like you said, let's make a suggestion. So you got to that point, you find, hey, this fits their budget. They say, yes, I'm comfortable. Where do you go from there?
Perfect. Well, it's about a 5 to 7 minute application. What's your middle name, or what's your middle initial?
Just hop right into it.
Yeah, I just get right into it. I used to do the whole well, we're gonna be going through an application. We're gonna need your social, banking information, driver's license.
Yep.
And that worked for a lot of times, but recently I've switched it and just kind of gone through the application. Right. And I've already sent them my business card. I've already built the trust in them. So, very few times does it happen where people are like, oh, I don't want to give my social or my banking, because it's just the way that it's set up. If I've gotten to that point, usually they understand that they're going to have to identify themselves and,
And it's also the way you react too, right? Like, and the way, like what we talked about in the beginning was the tone.
Yeah.
If I go, hey, Thomas, one of the things they're going to need here, man, is they're going to want your social security number.
Yeah, no.
You're not going to give it to me.
If you make it weird, it's going to
Exactly.
be weird. Yeah.
But if I go, what's your middle initial? Which social?
Yeah.
Just like I'm asking you, like, what your favorite color is. If I treat it like it's part of the process, they will believe that it's part of the process, because it is.
It is, right.
I mean, and when you take a step back, dude, it's insane to think that a company is going to give you whatever, $25,000, $100,000, $200,000 of life insurance coverage without having your social security number.
Yeah, how are they even going to know it's you when you pass?
Exactly. Like, it's insane to even think that.
Yeah.
But so if you treat it that way, like, of course they would need your social. Dude, how the hell are they going to know it's you or not?
Yeah.
But if I go, they do, and it's all protected, and no one's going to get it. Don't worry about it. No, we're not going to do anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like, you just might as well hang up the phone.
Exactly.
But it's that tone that, it's part of the process. So you go through the application, get done. Do you do any stuff at the end to kind of like tie it down to make sure that, you know, this, like make sure everything's good? Because I do believe that quality of business happens in the appointment as well, right? There's stuff that you do.
That's
so
the most,
what are you doing? Is it at the end where you're kind of building more rapport? How are you ensuring that this thing is going to stick?
Yeah, I stole this from people in FFL, but I always say, I have good news and bad news. What do you want first? You know, I say, well, bad news is you're stuck with me.
Yep.
You know, good news is you were approved for the policy. You know, first payment's going to come out on July 27th. Yep. So once you see the, you know, $127 charge from Americo, you can jump for joy knowing your coverage is active. I told them I'll be their point of contact for anything going forward. I always say if anybody else reaches out to you, you know, talk about life insurance or anything, tell them Thomas McBride took care of you. And I always say they probably know who I am, and you can tell them to call me if they have any questions. And tell them, you know, reach out to me when the policy gets to your house, which I think I need to switch and start actually following up with my clients or hiring somebody to do so, do the follow-ups.
Hire someone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call them in 2 weeks, make sure they got the policy. I even want to start sending out like little things in the mail because, you know, it's easy for a person who's 78 to forget a phone conversation that they had with somebody that lasted 15 minutes. Yep. You know, and then they see the paper come in and they're like, oh yeah, I did buy that life insurance, but who did I speak to that day? You know, I talked to so many clients, they're like, I got a policy a month ago, but I don't even know who. Yeah. So I aim to be the opposite of that. I aim to make sure that I'm memorable, and I send them a picture of my face and stuff so they can put a face to a name. Dude,
for a couple bucks, you could do like Alex Valencia, I don't know if you know who he is, top producer. He sends them a pen and a cloth for their glasses. And I forget, I think the cloth comes first. He sends that. I don't know the exact timing, but it's like policy gets issued. Let's say a week later, you get this in the mail. Boom. Then the next month, you get a pen in the mail. It has like the little, dude, it's a pen with a flashlight on it, a stylus. Yeah. It's got his name. It's got the company name. But for a few bucks, like why wouldn't you want to spend a few bucks per policy to help ensure that, number one, the policy sticks, client stays covered, you're not dealing with chargebacks, and then you then become their guy, right? Yeah. Then if they need something, dude, they just, my number's right here on the pen that I use every day, you know? Yeah. Small thing, but yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah. And definitely, the first staff you should hire is someone to help you manage your business. Yeah. The sales, keeping in touch with clients, because it's like you want to maximize the time that you can be doing these income-producing activities like selling insurance, and have someone else call, check in with them, be that customer service. And it's like, and I know the idea is like, and I'm not just talking to Tom, talking to a lot of people watching. Right. It's, well, I got to pay someone. Yeah, I know. But it's going to free you up to make more income to pay that person. Exactly. And it might save, 20, 25% of business. Absolutely. It's not going to save them all, but no, it's going to make a difference. It will be worth, I promise you it'll be worth, but it's that idea. And it's hard. Like we talked about, on your True Talk, going from working a job to running a business and now investing in leads. A lot of people, that's that first hurdle. Like, I got to buy leads. Yep. Yeah. And then the next hurdle is I should hire a staff. Yeah. You should, definitely. I got to pay them every week. Yep. But if you, it's like at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's literally like an extra policy or two a week would cover a staff's salary. To your point, could help you save another, even if you save 10% of your business. Yep. It's, tenfold. So I'm selling you on it right here. Absolutely, so you leave here, go hire a staff. I need to. Yes. But that especially you doing Hall of Fame type volume, it's hard to keep up with that many clients. Absolutely. But dude, I appreciate you coming in, doing this. Course, appreciate everything. And it's been fun to watch, man. It's funny, we talked about, if you haven't seen the True Talk, check that out. But a few years ago, I met you. You're a kid who's selling a little bit and, pursuing this music career. Here you are 2 years later, Hall of Fame, about to be back-to-back Hall of Fame, still doing the music stuff. But it's been cool to see your progression and you kind of growing up, Absolutely, man. So thanks again, man. Appreciate you coming in. Guys, thanks for watching, tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't already. You know where to find us. We'll be right back at you next week here on The Next Level. We'll see you soon.